Good day, good evening, good night, everyone. My name is Trent Buchanan, and I'll be leading this event today. Let me see if we can. So let's resume the recording. Let me just bring up the PowerPoint, and then we shall kick things off. There we go. Slideshow. All right. So welcome to another Jamaican Developers Community Demo Day. Brought to you by sponsors Jamaica Developers Community, OSUB, Vertis Technologies, and last but not least, Particular Presence Technologies Limited. As I mentioned before, my name is Tremaine, and this is our 8th demo day. You might be wondering, what is a demo day? As the name suggests, our demo day aims to create a space for developers and digital professionals to share their work with the peers. And by peers, we just mean anybody who's enthusiastic about software development or any type of development in the IT space or otherwise. We aim to encourage more persons to spend more time honing their craft and create a space for potential investors or employers to identify talent. So this is just a platform in which you can utilize or showcase your skills to potential employers or anybody else who's interested to carry your idea from what it is right now to something that can be as big as any other company in the IT landscape. This event is one of the several events organized by the Jamaica Developers Community. Other events include WordPress meetups, and I think we also do some events alongside the UI UX community. So if you're interested in those aspects or any of those other communities, please feel free to reach out to us via email or through our social media handles. Right. Just to give you a synopsis of the community itself, everybody here, we will pride ourselves as being creative thinkers, thought leaders, and innovators who we really love what we do, and we want to try and see how technology can solve common problems. And we don't see this transformation taking place only in Jamaica. We want to have a larger footprint to see if we can help our Caribbean neighbors to move away from being consumers of technology, but producers of technology. And again, I want to take the opportunity to thank our sponsors, OSUB Limited, Vertis Technology Solutions Limited, and Particular Presence Technology Limited. All right, so enough of the not enough, but I hope I've given you a brief synopsis of the demo day and what we aim to do. I'm Tremaine, as I mentioned before. I'm a software engineer. I'm straddled or done development in fintechs or financial institutions, government, and non-profit organizations throughout my 8 years. I also lecture computer science and software engineering courses at Vector Technology Institute that can be found on where are they located again? Oh, we're located at Eastwood Park Road, right behind the Twin Gates Plaza. I've also been a part of the community, albeit just biding my time on watching the developments going on. But I believe this is a time I need to step up and see how much I can help lead or have this community push into the Caribbean. Right. So that's me. We also have O'Shane Bailey, a co-founder of SUB. He's a full stack developer, really cool individual, knows technology inside out. So if you have any issues, any kind of problems, I doubt O'Shane definitely has the skills to complete that task or help you get over that hurdle. Communications officer, the beautiful Latifa Smelly. I've she has grown from stride to stride ever since I mentored her at a hackathon, and I'm happy to see her growth. She's your communication officer at OSUB, very career driven. I say integrity driven, that's true. And she is definitely a bright spark for the future. I know that with her and others in the community, I see Jamaica putting their stamp in the technological arena on a worldwide scale. And our main presenter today, Colin Campbell. I've seen the face before, would have come across Colin maybe at a hackathon or some community meetup already. He's already an owner of, I don't want to say it incorrectly, but Double and Easily Technology. And I hope he's still currently a student. If I'm incorrect, you can correct me, Colin.
Yes, you said incorrectly.
Sorry.
You're correct about the student part though.
Okay, all right. So I'll give you all the opportunity to correct that. Sometimes I need to practice before I start speaking when I look at certain names. But if I've seen Colin's face before, definitely he would have been in the community honing his skills and turning his hobby, tech hobby projects into something that is valuable and can help somebody solve their own problems. I'm seeing I'm just letting you guys know that Colin has worked on several projects such as Artifacts Pro and Pharma Reconcile, with the aim of addressing major pain points in the business process workflow. And I don't want to say anything further. I want to give Colin the opportunity to speak more about his technology company and what he's presenting today at our 8th demo day. Okay. So, Colin, I guess you have the floor, and this is your time to shine.
Okay, thank you very much, and I want to say, much thanks to Latifa and us, Shane and the team for having me here, right? And of course, I'd like to say good evening to everybody who's here, right? So, as you may know, I'm Colin Campbell. I'm a second-year student, major in software engineering at University of West Indies, and as I mentioned, I'm also a business owner, right? I can give a brief introduction about myself, right, about my business. So my business currently is a side business, right? But I use my business as an environment to hone my skills, right, and work on projects. So, if I have an idea, right, I would, just say, let me just mark this up and go and talk to people and see what they think about that, right? That is one side of the business, right? To create a product that, can scale and have people use that solves a general problem. Well, I should say a niche problem, but of course the solution is general so that can use it. You may know, software as a service. So that's one part of the business. Another part of the business is to cater to, small-time entrepreneurs and business owners, right? The ones who can go to the big companies and all the big bucks to hire a software developer, right? And I position myself as, a software business that provides professional services, right? Because I've had this one person, right, complain to me, say, they went on Fiverr and they did a somewhat bad job, right? And as developers, I don't want to go into, what bad job it was, but if I explain to you, right, what this job was, as developers, you have your standards, and it was somewhat below standard. So yeah, it's aimed to provide professional software development services to small-time entrepreneurs, right? I mainly focus on full stack, right? But I don't like to put labels on myself because, I want to remain flexible, right? So, if a problem requires a mobile developer, right, I can, do more research on the problem and, of course, focus on that, right? If the problem requires a web app developer, right, I can focus on that. But to grill, yes. So I'll focus on that. But is that to say I'm a generalist? I'm rather, we call a T-shaped developer. So of course, there are knowledge areas in which I am, fluent in. However, there are certain areas which I can say I'm very informed in. For instance, I know mobile app development, I know web development, right? Of course, I know front end, I know back end. But my depth now is within, let's say, web development, and I can say I'm fluent in JavaScript, so I can prime myself on being a good Node.js developer and so on, right? So that is, information about me, right? About the grading part, they can grade me after the demo, right? Because that's the meat of the source, right? So about the project, right? Let me show my screen.
Sure. And while Colin is sharing his screen, please feel free to drop the questions in and ask as much. We don't know when we're going to get the opportunity to talk to him again. So please feel free to, as I quote unquote say, grill him, to pick his brain and to understand how he came about these things and just make everything interesting.
Okay. All right. So now I'm at the project, right? And you can see it's a blank screen. So I can give a brief introduction of this project. So the project is called Autoscribbler, right? And I can tell you how I came up with the idea of the project. So once upon a time, I entered this competition, right? It was a UABC competition. I entered as my business. No, I didn't enter as my business. I entered as my business name, but I entered with a project, right? The project is Farmer Reconcile, and I can go into a story about why I think I never passed, right? However, I was paired with a mentor, and this mentor, is a cool guy. He was a sales manager at a company. And, we were talking about, some stuff. And of course, him knowing the fact that I'm a software developer, and giving some problems, that he's having and that, he think I can solve. And one of these problems was that as a sales manager or in business development, he will have a client, right? And a client, will have many documents that they need to fill out, or they need to fill out as a business development officer. And these documents have different purposes. However, they require the same information. So he asked me, if you know of a system that can autofill, all these documents at once from a single data source. And I say, now I'll look for some solutions and stuff like that, right? But, solutions are there, but I think they're very technical. You have a lot of, Salesforce apps there. You have a lot of Microsoft apps. But if you know about document automation, document automation, right? I do that's automation. Document automation, you might have to do some level of programming in it, right? Even though without a doubt, there are some simpler solutions out there, right? For people who aren't experienced in any level in programming, right? So I took it upon myself now to at least build one, right? And, by building one, I can see if there are opportunities there, right? So, I can make money off of it. So how it works is that, wait, before I continue, does anybody understand the problem?
Yeah, I think I understand the problem given my financial background as a business development officer once. You will have, for example, a customer coming in for a particular loan, and this loan they need to have life insurance and other products tied to it. You will take up a data sheet that will have all their details, but you need to complete 3 different other forms.
Okay.
That one form now I would have to take data from that one form and fill these 3 different forms on my desk and pass them off to different departments. So
Okay.
I think I see where you're going with this solution. And I also want to take the opportunity to shout out those that who have joined on YouTube. Thanks for joining in. And I hope Colin can now jump into the demo and kind of give us what he has come up with, which to me sounds pretty interesting given where I was coming from in terms of background.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that input. I think you can solve that problem, right? I need more details, but we can get back to that if there's enough time, right? So here I have some documents, right? And all of these documents are different. So I can, skip through them one by one. So one document requires my name, my hobby 1, and hobby 2. and as well as a number, right? And you can see here I have template identifiers. So these are information I want to place in the document. And you can see that for each document, they require this, some of them require this information. So one has, this have the name and so on. One has a major that's different than the previous one. And there is, okay, there's something, no, there's something besides this. Okay, mighty God of Daniel, separate line. I don't want to take that, Okay, you know what? Okay, cool. So yeah, I have another template here that requires name, major, hobby one, and hobby two, and you can see I had some string formatting, right? Just to show you that it works. It doesn't work perfectly now. There will be bugs, but it works, on a robust level. You messing now? So for here, you have this, the power index, right? It should work for that one. Change the color here, and of course, I have some string formatting. So if I want this to work now, all I have to do is just drag and drop these documents here, right? And my next step now would be to add what's called a template definition. So template definitions are basically the templates you want to remove, as well as it includes the data type and so on. Currently, because this is, I should say, the proof of concept, even though it's functional, I have arbitrary data here. So this is just to allow or provide some level of user experience, right? Where actually doesn't mean anything right now on the back end. So I have the data types. So you have a number, long text, and short text, right? So knowing the templates I have inside the document, I can, decide to fit, I want to add a template for the name. So name is there and so on. I add that one. And of course, my name is Colin. So I'm going to center Colin Campbell, right? I know that there is a number, right? As in a phone number inside one of these documents or more than one of them. My number is 876, and this, right? If you wish, you can reach out to me that number. Almighty God of that, yeah. All right, still error. I was moving too fast, right? All right, so I'll add this one now, right? Okay, cool. So I had a number template. This is probably a blessing because you will see that if I enter this, it won't really affect what's going on, right? I also have my major. This no. I have my major too, so my other one for that. So short text. Same thing again. I'm sorry, got to keep making this, you see errors, right? So I add the template now. And so I have right. I have hobby one and hobby two, so I'm just add the template definitions for that one. And I now have a short text hobby two, right? I like, of course, coding and guitar thing. So that's guitar, right? Right? I think that should be everything, but let me just check back these documents just to ensure that it is everything. All right, so name, number, okay. All right, cool. Oops, my bad. All right, yes, so after that now, after the user has entered their information that they want to fill out, right? Their next step now would be to submit the documents, right? The process documents. So when the process documents, what should happen is that, information I have here should replace the templates that are identified inside the document. So where I have hobby 1, it should be coding and so on. So they have multiple documents, right? And of course, you know, all of them should be autofilled. So let's click this button, right? Yeah, a zip file should be returned, right? What the zip file contain is they contain the documents that have been autofilled, right? Open it and archive it. Right? It should open up in a folder. Give it a moment. Here it is, right? So let's see if it works, right? Okay, cool. So you can see there are some places where I have my name, right? Some places where I have the hobby, as well as the number. And if you check these documents now, it should be the same, right? So on and so forth. And for the one with the weird formatting, you can see these are also autofilled, right? So the problem is, so the whole point is that, you know, it will allow a user to, you know, fill out multiple documents all at once, you know, 10, 20, 30 if they have to, right? And this is from data source that they can autofill. But I have plans for this project, right? But currently, because I have school amongst other stuff, you know, going on, you know, with this business, I'm currently, you know, putting this in the backlog. So when I have more time now, I can give it my undivided attention, right? So I hope that everybody, you know, understand what's happened, what's going on, what problem it's solved, how it works, and so on. So yeah, that is it for the presentation. I'm open to questions now.
All right, great. Great presentation, Colin. I have some questions, but I'll give everybody else a chance to ask their questions. I think I'm seeing a question from Aiden Jones. He's asking for simplicity. Would it be better also to have the option to enter the value in the same pop-up that you are declaring what to change? So, yeah, so I'm thinking that based on how I understand it, you are setting up the, I guess, the variables that you want to replace at that point in time.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, so I guess he wants to do the setup and the data entry at the same time.
Oh yes, that can happen. That can happen. Thanks for that suggestion. I wasn't necessarily thinking about that at that point.
Also, well, not from him, but I believe to provide the community with an opportunity to contribute code, will you be open sourcing this project?
Sure. It depends on, you know, how things, you know, go in the future. As I said, I'm interested in, you know, commercializing this software. So if there's a market for it and if it solves a pain point, and if enough people are willing to pay for this, that wouldn't be an option. However, if it's that, you know, let's say that the market isn't big enough, right? Like, I mean, they can only make so much money off a project. If you can't make a business model from this project, right? Meaning that, you know, things don't work, you know, how we expect it to, you might lose money if you run the numbers. It wouldn't make sense to make it commercialized. However, there is still, you know, a potential for this to be out there. Like somebody needs this, right? Somebody needs this.
Okay, no problem. All right, that's fair. I would not want anybody to think about an idea and then at the end of the day, you're thinking about it from a business perspective, and that's fine. And I definitely appreciate your perspective on where you think the development will go next. All right. From me, my only I guess. Aiden had his hand up. I guess you can go ahead and provide and speak? Or is it?
Oh, well, before my hand, O'Shane had his hand up first. So I'd like O'Shane to ask first.
I'm giving the guests first preference before the hosts. So Aiden first, and then I'll have O'Shane speak.
Oh, I didn't recognize that O'Shane was one of those.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I see you're going from a business perspective with the fact that you don't want it to be open source, right? However, there, like you said before, there's a lot of bugs and glitches, right? And personally speaking, I would love to see the code block myself. So if as you said, if everything doesn't pan out the way you plan, the way you imagine it to, are you going to actually put it up on GitHub?
Yes, I would make the repository open on GitHub.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Hayden. O'Shane, you can go ahead now.
Okay, thank you, Jermaine. Well, mine, it's more towards a statement and a suggestion forward, right? Well, the first question, actually, there's a question. Do you support Uber PDF, and are you planning to support that?
Okay, I like that question because it really goes back to the technical implementation. So really and truly, I depend on open source, libraries to make this work. I use this library for Java that allows me to manipulate Word documents. It is XW Docker, something like that, right? And the thing is that I can, of course, it's inevitable that I will go into the tech stack, but the thing is that, libraries that support stuff like PDF and so on and document to PDF conversions, they are not free, right? And it's really hard to find one that supports it. But
all right. I do apologize. All right. So there are two types of documents: non-fillable PDF and fillable PDF. Fillable PDF are like those electronic PDF that you can open your browser or your PDF viewer and actually input data. Those tend to have labels and inputs that you can just electronically map something to.
okay.
There's many open source tools that allow you to do that. I built couple out myself using Python, Node.js, PHP, you name it.
Okay.
The reason why I ask is so from a business perspective, there are like company office documents that are that they provide fillable PDF. So one of the projects that I worked on back in the past, it say we take the user data and autofill all of the documents that they want to register a company, file their tax return, or so forth. That could be a commercial type of feature of your application. If you go towards fillable PDF, you can mix it where you have open source and open source freemium and commercial. So for example, there might be some templated fillable PDF or templated document that, like for example, a simple contributor agreement document can be like an open source thing that people can contribute to and add to the software as an extension. So you get that contribution from the community, and then you tie that back into your commercial application. If you notice, most applications are going towards, you have a community edition and a commercial edition. So they benefit from the community. Apart from that, another approach you can take is where, for example, there, because you want user feedback, you want to generate a lot of users, a lot of, engagement so that you can build a better product, because, more people use it, more feedback you get, and more likely you adjust your code, improve, and so forth. So there can be like templates that are free templates, like for example, a template that, say for example, a marriage counsel template that anyone can fill. It's a bad example, but for some reason I can't think of a good template that like everyone in Jamaica or around the world would just use. It's a simple document that most people would fill out throughout their life, like NIS documents, and you generate user from that, and also you generate traction users, and you are able then to say, who's in charge of NIS. We have this amount of user using our system to populate this document to then submit it at the NIS office. Can we do some form of partnership? So you have that partnership, the community, and generating users at the same time. So that's an approach that you can take. That's my suggestion. So I'm not going to take up any more time. Back to you, Tremaine.
Okay. All right, no problem. Thanks a lot, O'Shane, and I believe those perspectives will help to shape the product that Colin wants to develop. All right, I'm not seeing any other questions in the chat. I guess from my perspective, I wondered if the company, and I think maybe it was touched on by O'Shane, but I'm thinking back to the scenario in which I pitched to you earlier, where I was in the financial sector and we had to do we had to use one data sheet to fill out different forms. At the end of the day, I think it's already solved, but I think maybe as a first step, what you could do is kind of find those industries that already have something very, very simple like Word documents. And when I say Word documents, I was surprised that when I went to an ear, nose, and throat specialist, they were using Word documents to maintain their medical records. So maybe, that kind of maybe industry has a lot of Word documents that maybe need to be filled out in such a capacity. So it would be good to kind of start the ball rolling by attacking these industries. But overall, I think most of what O'Shane had mentioned, it was in my mind, and I think O'Shane had presented that to you. So that is something maybe you can look into. It's a specific industry to kind of get things started, and also provide, as O'Shane said, those community plugins that will definitely be tailored toward a particular community. I see Mr. Campbell, Rashawn Campbell, you had your hand up, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you. All right, I just want to say, Colin, this is a great project, from a fellow classmate to you. This is a really good one, man. Yes, I was looking at it just to ensure that I fully appreciate the purpose of the solution you have here. So it is to get some documents. So these documents that it's getting, right? I notice it has some tags in it, like name, major, and so on. So is it that the user of the solution would need to prepare these documents with tags like in that same syntax or that same format that you have? And
Yes.
then, oh, okay, cool. And then now when they click on the add new definition, now they can name the tags that they have in those particular documents, choose the data type and the data that they would like to replace in all of them. But it's like a batch processing type of thing.
Yes, that is what it is, in simple terms.
Okay, cool. Yeah, man, I like the solution. I see. I worked with someone before that have a need for something similar to this. So I know that, you know, if you continue to work on those bugs and so on, this could catch on a lot and it would benefit. You know, you have audience out there, the niche is out there for it for sure.
Okay.
Keep it up, man.
I appreciate the advice from, you know, Roshan, Shane, and please forgive me, the presenter. You're Jermaine, right?
Tremaine.
Tremaine, okay.
Yes.
Tremaine too. I appreciate
No
it.
problem. All right. I think I have another question from Aiden Jones. Aiden, you can take the floor.
No, yeah. The question that I wanted to ask was already previously asked by Mr. Campbell. Essentially, I was about to ask if you're going to, you know, in the future, let's say you actually decide to, you know, polish it a little bit more, make it a little bit more UI UX compatible, right? The persons would have to essentially pre-make a template with the tags so that they can use the data to fill them out. So yeah, the fact that Roshane asked that's the question I wanted to ask. So it's fine. It's fine on mine.
Okay, no problem.
And by the way, I just want to say that I don't see any issues with doing that. But to be honest, I'd rather make one template with all the tags in it and then do like 20 batch work than, you know, have to go through it all one by one. So the end justifies the need.
Okay, that's noted. And definitely thanks for your contribution and your feedback. I love the fact that we're thinking along the lines of automating the boring tasks. And this is an example of trying to make sure that we leverage technology in whatever facet of our business or life we can utilize it. So this is a step in the right direction. I don't have any questions from our YouTube viewers. And I see where Colin Campbell's GitHub link is being shared. So you can definitely take the opportunity to reach out to him, whether through his contact, which he has provided, he's still sharing it, 855-7994, or you can continue to follow him on LinkedIn or any of his social media platforms, or you can reach out to him via phone number. So that is good to know that he is willing to share his ideas and speak to you after the presentation. But again, we still have some time. We still have some time on the call. So if you have any other questions, you can please feel free to raise them. And again, I want to take the opportunity to thank our sponsors at this time again, Particular Presence, Osub Limited, and Veritas Technology Solutions Limited. All right. I don't think there are any more questions. So if there are no further questions, I want to thank each and everybody, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're in the Zoom call that participated today. If you want to schedule a time similar to this to show us what you're working on, if you want to interact with the community, or you just want to be a part of the community, send us an email at community. Send us an email to email address community@caribbean.dev. We have a lots in store, and we have some more upcoming events. If you want to also join the community, O'Shane has dropped a link in the chat, so you can follow that link. And also you can find us on social media. In terms of one last thing I need to mention. So there's an upcoming event. It's a WordPress related event. And as mentioned before, we're not only into just doing demo days and career days, we also try to cross-pollinate in the various verticals, UX design, UI UX, and also for those folks who want to strictly focus on WordPress. So there's that date coming. O'Shane, Do you have a date and time for that as yet, or it's still to be announced?
Well, it's still to be announced, but generally, the WordPress events keep every second Thursday of each month. So every second Thursday, let me tell you when that is. Going to look at my calendar and get back to you about that. Apart from that, we do have our next two events next month, which is Demo Day and Career Day. You can also look out for those. All of our events are on our meetup.com URL. I'll drop the link in the chat. Apart from that, there's a special event that is coming up. We'll post it on our meetup.com account, so you can look out for that. And then there are some jobs that we are going to post, tech jobs for anyone that is interested in switching to like a new work environment in UI, UX, development and so forth. We're going to post some new jobs in our community chat and in the jobs group, so you can also look out for those.
Okay. All right, great. Thanks for that, O'Shane. I'm seeing where Joy is not joyful. She's mentioning that the link has expired. So the link that you provided, O'Shane, has expired. Not sure if she's the only person.
I'm trying to reset it now.
Okay, great. So let's make Joy joyful. And thanks for that, Joy. All right, but go ahead, Aiden.
I am so sorry. I thought it was muted. Okay.
That's fine. No problem.
Well, I just want, I'm just curious because, pun intended indeed. Okay, so I'm curious. I'm very new to this community, so I guess just to elongate the time, I'm just curious, what do you do on a career day?
Okay, that's a very good question. And as what I'll do, I'll segue to O'Shane to let you know. But I can give you a brief synopsis about Career Day. With anything in information technology, we have vast corridors in which we can walk. Whether it is artificial intelligence, whether it is web application development, whether it is UX UI, whether it is robotics, you have so many channels in which you can walk. We at the Caribbean Jamaica developer community believe that we want to give you enough information to make an informed decision as it relates to your career. So the Career Day is that talking point in which we diffuse or try to ensure that we give you enough information to make a decision as it relates to where you want to go as a technological, in your technological pursuits. So I think the last one we had, we ventured into game development, if I'm not mistaken. And I think the one prior to that, we spoke about artificial intelligence, and it was a pretty good presentation. So the career day in and of itself is just that, that point in which we want to see how best we can speak to you about give you insights about a specific career. And these insights are brought to you by the individuals themselves. So we're not asking anybody who is not steeped in the knowledge about what they're doing. We want to make sure that they can give you as it is from the horse's mouth. Okay. O'Shane, if you want to add anything to that, you can go ahead.
So I'll add some points. So these individuals that tend to speak at Career Day tend to be experts or individuals that are versed. That's it, whether they're working in Jamaica or they're from the diaspora or the international dev community. So for example, there was someone from the US who did a Career Day on mobile development, and he also did a crash course on Flutter development to show how to build mobile app and talk about the state of mobile application, the pay scale, lesson learned, and some insight about what you should know if you're getting in this in the field. There was a UI UX Career Day, which went into the same thematic about pay scale, the state of UI UX in the Caribbean, the things that you should know, what they tend to do with you in UI UX, companies that are hiring, skill sets that you need, certificates that you might need, and so forth. So we want to ensure, as Jermaine pointed out, we want to ensure that if you're interested in switching field or upskill or do career growth, because we think about the career roadmap and how to take you from a developer to business analyst to a CTO or so forth. So it's geared towards that career roadmap and getting individuals from the local and the international community that are expert in the field to just give you as much knowledge based on their experience and research to equip you to make a better decision on your junior career path. Apart from that, all of our events for Career Day, Demo Day, crash courses, and so forth, there are all of them are on our YouTube page. I'll drop the link in the chat shortly.
All right. I see. Thank you.
Okay.
I had another question, but Miss Latifa, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm offending you by saying your last name. Yeah, by Miss Latifa, it has been answered. So thank you.
All right, no problem. I think it's in. Yes, in. All right. So I think the question that he had asked is about full stack development. And then Latifa just mentioned that we don't have a specific career day as yet, but it's in the pipeline, or I guess it's on the road map. Yes. And another question by Mark Anthony. When was the mobile dev career day? Not seen a recording on the YouTube page. Shane, maybe you want to take that one?
Yes. So the mobile dev career day, that's actually not published. There are some events that we haven't published on our YouTube page. It's there as unlisted. We're going to publish all of it. Well, we're going to schedule to publish all of the ones that aren't published as yet within the next 2 weeks. Okay. However, the mobile dev career day, we are supposed to do a new one because that career day was done. It was that was done in 2019. So we do need to get a bit of a refresher of it because within the last 3 to 4 years, the mobile development in ecosystem drastically changed. So we are aiming to do a new one sometime this year or next.
Okay, no problem, O'Shane. As it relates to, I think the only thing I will add to that about the landscape changing. I am not seeing right now where there's going to be a big shift because I think where we are currently in terms of the ecosystem is that cross-platform development has now matured with the advent of Flutter and React Native. So I haven't seen much developments in the space to kind of move away from something else unless there's a new mobile operating system, which I know Google is working on their own new OS, to work in tandem or work or kind of be a standalone, which is Fuchsia. And I think they want to make Flutter a first-class citizen in that operating system. So let's see what happens. But I personally, and this is just me saying that whatever skills you may garner now, which would be your Android development, your iOS development, and your Flutter and React, should last you for another year or so, given that I don't see much development taking place outside of cross-platform, because cross-platform is quote-unquote the silver bullet. All right. But that's just my rambling on. And thanks for the questions. I only divert to O'Shane because he's a subject matter expert, and I wouldn't want you guys to get the wrong information. What else is next? Okay, so this has been a very fruitful discussion or demo day in my estimation, and I hope everybody who has participated, whether on Zoom or YouTube, feels the same. And we would love to have you again. Please feel free to drop in at any time. We'll try to keep you as up to date as possible in terms of the next one. But on the immediate horizon is the WordPress meetup. So I hope we'll give you enough information so you can attend it and get some details such that you can be more aware of what's going on in the WordPress development space. And again, last but not least, I want to thank the organizers who have put in a lot of work to make my job very easy just to moderate this session. And also we can leave out our sponsors, Particular Presence, Osub Limited, and Vertis Technologies, who has been gracious in sponsoring these events. As far as I've been attending, I've heard these three names over and over. So thank you for your continued support, and your support is definitely appreciated because it helps to disseminate the information to those who are new to technology and those who want to step forward in an industry which I believe it's already the technological revolution. And I don't see this thrust subsiding anytime soon. So if Latifa or O'Shane has anything else, you can take the floor now. That's it from me.
Okay. Yes. Just one last thing. Just to address Tremaine and the state of me being present. Just reminding everyone, both Latifa and I, we are transitioning from the community, so we won't be available after June. So in this time, Tremaine is taking over from us to host the event and manage the community. So I definitely want to give a big thanks to Tremaine for, taking over this first event. You did well, Tremaine, and I, again, thank you very much. So with that said, everyone, thank you very much for attending, and we can call it adjourned until the next event. Take care.
All right, take care, guys. All right, bye-bye.